All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the psychology and the entire worldview of one of television's absolute most beloved characters, Phoebe Buffay. Now, if you know Phoebe, you know she is a deeply spiritual free spirit. Whether she's belting out Smelly Cat or explaining her famous lobster theory, she's constantly looking to the universe for answers, right? She relies on these cosmic signs to find some kind of meaning in the chaos of life. But what if we took that defining characteristic and just turned it completely upside down?
So let's dive right into this massive what-if question. What if the most free-spirited person in her entire friend group simply stopped believing in soulmates? And I don't mean because her heart got completely shattered or love failed her in some super dramatic way. But what if her worldview just quietly flipped from waiting for the universe to deliver this perfect love to actively, deliberately choosing it instead? This one simple question kind of changes everything. It completely transforms how we understand her character and honestly, maybe even how we view our own relationships.
Section 1. Love found versus love built.
To really grasp the magnitude of this shift, we first have to rewind and remember her original worldview. For Phoebe, love wasn't supposed to be built through hard work. It was supposed to be found, period. For her, the universe functioned almost like this invisible cosmic matchmaker. While the rest of her friends were, overanalyzing every text message or using humor to mask their deep insecurities, Phoebe just trusted her raw instincts over logic. She dated highly unusual people. Like, remember the guy who eats chalk? She did that because she felt she was following this invisible thread. So when she finally met Mike, it felt incredibly meaningful specifically because it seemed so effortless. It was like the universe had beautifully, perfectly delivered a match for her totally unpredictable world.
Just look at the sheer contrast here between these two mindsets. The old perspective relies entirely on destiny. It's about trusting your instincts and believing that love is something you just stumble upon. But the new perspective? It's about staying curious, recognizing that love has to be built from the ground up, and acknowledging that a relationship is driven by choice. Imagine if Phoebe gradually shifted from that old mindset to the new one. What actually happens if she stops asking, is this the person the universe miraculously chose for me, and instead starts asking, hey, can we create something meaningful together? It's a subtle pivot, sure, but man, it changes the rules of the entire game.
Section 2. The psychology of destiny. Because think about it. Waiting around for a soulmate actually creates this weird, intense kind of pressure. It's driven by what psychologists call destiny beliefs. Basically, that's the idea that compatibility is discovered rather than developed. If you truly believe someone is meant for you by some grand cosmic design, suddenly every single disagreement feels incredibly dangerous. Under that rigid mindset, every difficult moment, every little argument, it starts sounding like this loud alarm bell whispering, oh, maybe this isn't the one. Maybe the universe made a mistake. It literally leaves absolutely zero room for human error.
But research repeatedly points us to a much healthier alternative, which is having growth beliefs. People who hold this mindset, they view challenges as essential building blocks. They don't see disagreements as these massive red flags, but just as completely normal hurdles. Think about your own relationships for a second. Handling conflict becomes vastly easier when you don't automatically see struggles as evidence that things are fundamentally broken. People with growth beliefs simply understand that compatibility takes real, actual work, and they have the willingness to stay curious even when things get tough.
Section 3. Reframing familiar relationships. So if she adopted this growth mindset and let go of all that destiny stuff, Phoebe would start viewing all the relationships around her entirely differently. Suddenly, the complex dynamics of her closest friends wouldn't seem like fate. They'd look like conscious, deliberate effort. Take Monica and Chandler, for example. They were work, not magic. She'd look at them and realize their lasting love wasn't about the absence of struggle. No way. They succeeded precisely because they navigated genuine, messy conflict together. They had to balance Monica's intense neat freak nature with Chandler's deep-seated commitment phobias. The true magic there was that they just repeatedly chose each other through all that friction.
And applying this directly to our own relationship with Mike reveals this absolutely incredible evolution. Initially, months ago, they completely disagreed on marriage. They wanted fundamentally different futures. But they succeeded because weeks later they actually sat down, talked, and adjusted. They moved toward each other through deliberate communication, not blind fate. And that exact effort brought them to where they are today, fully committed. Without that soulmate myth clouding her vision, she sees him clearly. He's not some flawless puzzle piece. He's just an imperfect human who kept showing up.
Section 4. The power of choice. When you strip away all that cosmic fairy tale stuff, what you're left with is actually much more grounded, much more resilient, and deeply personal.
Realizing that Mike was just an ordinary person who continually made the conscious effort to be there, honestly, it makes the relationship profoundly more romantic. On one side, you have the passive soulmate story. Oh, I had no choice. We were meant to be. Which, okay, sounds sweet, but it completely takes away your agency. Now, contrast that with the growth story. I saw all your flaws and I still chose you. There is something immensely powerful and validating about being deliberately chosen by someone who sees the messy, unfiltered reality of who you are, rather than someone who's just playing out a pre-written script.
Section 5. Creating meaning. Now, a realization like this, it wouldn't just stop at romance. It literally shifts her entire approach to life. It means less searching for the perfect fit and more building a great fit, less waiting around for invisible signs from the universe, and more asking direct, honest questions. Less of that paralyzing fear of getting it wrong, and way more confidence that love grows over time. Giving up the idea of soulmates wouldn't make Phoebe cynical at all. Sure, believing in destiny made a harsh world feel kinder for her once upon a time, but shedding that belief, it just changes how she finds meaning in the chaos.
It really all boils down to this. You create meaning. You don't just discover it. And this is an incredibly emotional realization for her character. Because beneath all the quirky songs and the wild theories, Phoebe always possessed one massive hidden strength. She adapted, she survived, she built deep, lasting connections where literally none existed before. She never actually needed destiny as much as she thought she did. She was always the kind of person who could turn ordinary moments into something magical with her own two hands.
Because every single day becomes a decision to trust, to stay, to grow. And this really leads us to the ultimate conclusion of our explainer today. Without the safety net of soulmates, Phoebe wouldn't love less. Actually, scratch that, she might actually love more. Not because a relationship was miraculously written in the stars for her, but because she transforms ordinary life into profound magic through her own active, brave, daily choices.
So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative question to chew on. Do soulmates truly exist out there, just waiting to be found? Or do people become soulmates over time, through effort, patience, and deliberate choice? It is absolutely amazing how shifting just one core belief can entirely alter a character's story. And maybe, just maybe, our own approach to love too. Think about that for a bit and remember how incredibly powerful your own daily choices are in building the relationships you want. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you next time.